Gloria Allred, and you're watching GVTV News.
Thanks, Gloria, and I'm Randy Hansen. In today's World News headlines, CIA Director defends torture program and rejects the Senate claims. And Brennan also says no guarantee the CIA won't torture again. An African-American congressional staffer staged hands up, don't shoot, walkout. And Congress avoids shutdown with controversial spending bill gutting financial reform. And national marches against police brutality and racial profiling set for Saturday, and thousands attend cabinet minister's funeral as Palestinians and Israelis differ on cause of death. And Hong Kong police clear pro-democracy encampment after more than 2 months. And as rainstorm pummels the west coast, Kerry links extreme weather to climate change, the new word for global warming. And former model joins list of accusers as Bill Cosby faces lawsuits in LAPD probe. GVTV News is broadcast on Grass Valley Television, a division of Rural County's television network, whose focuses on community involvement. We also air on NCTV. But before these stories, GVTV News would like to thank one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News. In today's first world news story, CIA Director John Brennan has refused to rule out the agency's use of torture ever again, while defending the officials who devised and carried it out. Speaking out for the first time since the release of the Senate's findings this week, Brennan refused to label CIA methods torture. In defiant remarks, Brennan also rejected the Senate's conclusion that the torture methods provided no useful intelligence towards preventing attacks. And he said, "Our reviews indicate that the detention and interrogation program produced useful intelligence and helped the United States thwart attack plans, capture terrorists, and save lives. But let me be clear, we are not concluded that it was the use of EITs, or enhanced interrogation techniques, within the program that allowed us to obtain useful information from detainees subjected to them. The cause and effect relationship between the use of EITs and useful information subsequently provided by the detainees is, in my view, unknowable." As Brennan spoke, Senate Intelligence Committee Chair Dianne Feinstein posted point-by-point rebuttals in real time over Twitter on the issue of whether torture could have thwarted attacks. Feinstein said no evidence that terror attacks would stop terrorists captured or lives saved. Feinstein and Brennan's different accounts revived the war of words between the Senate and the CIA that emerged during the investigation. The CIA has accused spying on Senate staffers' computers and obstructing their probe. And the Senate seems to be trying to get even, I guess. In his address, CIA Director John Brennan also defended the George W. Bush administration and CIA officials behind the torture program, calling them patriots trying to defend the country in the shadow of 9/11, while acknowledging some methods were abhorrent. Brennan urged the nation to drop scrutiny of the torture program and instead look forward. And he said in a limited number of cases, agency officers used interrogation techniques that had not been authorized, nor were abhorrent and rightly should be repudiated by all. We fell short, and it came to holding some officers accountable for their mistakes, in light of the fact that these techniques are abandoned 7 years ago. However, my fervent hope is that we can put aside this debate and move forward to focus on issues that are relevant to our current national security challenges. Asked whether CIA will torture again, Brennan refused to offer guarantees, saying he will defer to the policymakers in future times. Which they turned around to say that he was saying that we might torture again. Who knows? You never know. Nationwide protest over unpunished police killings of unarmed Americans have spread to the halls of Congress. In a coordinated action, dozens of African-American staffers, walked out on Thursday in a show of solidarity with the protesters in Ferguson, New York City, and cities across the country with the raised hand saying, "Hands up, don't shoot, pose," which has nothing to do with what happened, but they're doing it anyway. Congress has avoided a government shutdown with last-minute passage of a spending bill before Thursday's midnight deadline, $1.1 trillion measure that came under threat after Democrats voiced outrage over last-minute pro-corporate measures. One key provision will repeal the major rule in the Dodd-Frank financial reform bill that limits risky trades by federally insuring banks. Speaking ahead of the vote, Democratic Representative Maxine Waters said undoing critical regulations through a government spending bill must be opposed. She said under the cover of must-pass legislation, big banks and lobbyists are hoping that Congress will allow Wall Street to once again gamble with taxpayer money by reversing the provisions that prohibits the bank from using taxpayer-insured funds, bank deposits to engage in risky derivatives trading activity, and provisions must be stopped. Enough is enough. According to the New York Times, the financial giant Citigroup authored the provision in question. Another amendment will increase tenfold the amount of money allowed for certain political donations. Despite the objections of Democrats like Maxine Waters, the White House urged lawmakers to pass the bill to avoid a shutdown. More than 50 Democrats then joined the Republicans to approve the bill in a narrow 219-206 vote. The measure funds all government agencies through September, except for the Department of Homeland Security, whose allocation expires in February. That will set up a new showdown over immigration, with Republicans vowing to hold up an additional funding in a challenge to President Obama's illegal action for up to 5 million undocumented immigrants. Protests continue over the nationwide actions on Saturday, including what organizers have dubbed Millions March, a New York City and Justice for All National March against police violence in the nation's capital. D.C. march will be led by Reverend Al Sharpton, our favorite, and family members of several slain African Americans: Michael Brown, Eric Garner, Akai Gurley, Tamir Rice, and Trayvon Martin. Thousands of people gathered in the occupied West Bank on Thursday for the funeral of a Palestinian official who died when the Israeli military attacked a peaceful protest. Ziad Abu Ain was helping plant olive trees near an illegal settlement when an Israeli officer grabbed and shoved him. Witnesses say Ian collapsed to the ground and then died after inhaling large amounts of tear gas. Cause of death is under dispute, with Palestinian officials saying he died of his wounds and Israeli officials saying he succumbed to the pre-existing heart condition worsened by stress. Palestinian officials have threatened to cut off security cooperation with Israel, in which Palestinian Authority forces help Israel police the occupied West Bank. Police in Hong Kong have cleared most of the pro-democracy protest camps that took over key downtown area for over 2 months. Protests erupted in September after the Chinese government rejected demands for free elections. Protesters want an open vote, but China says it was only allow candidates approved by Beijing. On Thursday, hundreds of protesters voluntarily left their encampment after movement leaders cited the threat of harsh police repression. Several activist leaders were arrested. Many demonstrators left the protest site, with chants vowing to return. Major storm in California and Pacific Northwest has caused hurricane-force winds and dumped more than 7 inches of rain in the worst-hit areas. Storm knocked out power in tens of thousands of homes and canceled several hundred flights. It moved southward overnight, prompting new evacuations. Speaking at UN Climate Summit in Lima, Peru, Secretary of State John Kerry linked the storm to worsening extreme weather under climate change, which he said posed a major threat 22 years after the Earth Summit in Rio. He said, "This morning I woke up in Washington, television news of the superstorm rainfall in California and Washington state. Torrential, record-breaking rain in record-breaking short time. It become commonplace to hear about record-breaking climate events, but this is 2014, 22 years later, and we're still on course leading to tragedy. Kerry spoke on the eve of the Climate Summit's last scheduled day of talks. Another woman who has come forward to accuse the comedian Bill Cosby of drugging her as part of a pattern of sexual assaults. Writing for Vanity Fair, former model Beverly Johnson says Cosby drugged her at his New York City apartment 3 decades ago. Johnson writes, "For a long time I thought it was something that only happened to me and that I was somehow responsible, but the last 4 weeks have changed everything. As so many people have shared similar stories, I couldn't sit back and watch the other women be vilified and shamed for something I knew was true." More than 20 women have accused Cosby of drugging and sexually assaulting them in attacks dating back to the 1960s. Cosby is facing at least 2 lawsuits over the allegations, as well as an LAPD investigation. And that's it for the World News today. Now, another thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us. GVTV News.
Seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon, I could go to space. With the air like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm clap along if you feel like a room without.
That's right, it's time for the police blotter. Pictures in the blotter not from these actual events, but used for visual aid only. These public records are obtained from daily logs issued from Nevada County law enforcement. Grass Valley Police Department on Thursday, 8:26 a.m. A man from 600 block of Linden Avenue reported 2 dogs came on his porch and killed his cat. 9:39 a.m. a caller from 300 block of Mill Street reported theft of a blue Honda Accord. A be on the lookout was issued. 12:02 p.m. a woman from 200 block of Dorsey Drive reported a woman hit her, choked her, and ripped her shirt. She did not need medical attention. And 1:34 p.m. caller from business 100 block of East McKnight Way reported someone tried to drill into shipping containers last night. At 2:07 p.m. a caller from business Dorsey and Dworsky Drives reported a man came in and asked for vodka, then left. And 5:31 p.m. a caller from 300 block of Sutton Way reported a physical fight with a girl who hit her in the face and punched her. Girl was arrested on suspicion of battery and vandalism. At 6:05 p.m. a caller from 200 block on Mill Street reported a person banging on car windows and yelling and could not be located by an officer. 6:24 p.m. a woman from 300 block of Pleasant Street reported a feral cat got into her residence and was growling at her and was very aggressive. In Nevada County Sheriff's Office on Thursday, 9:06 a.m. a caller from Highway 49 reported a rock slide north of the Yuba River. At 9:13 a.m. a caller from Bitney Springs Road and Starduster Drive reported a tree blocking the road. 9:20 a.m., a caller from 19,000 block of Wolf Creek Road reported a tree blocking both lanes of the road. 9:20 a.m., a caller from 19,000 block of McCourtney Road reported a tree blocking the road. 12:12 p.m., a woman from 11,000 block of Torrey Pines Drive reported her ceiling fell in. 12:42 p.m., a caller from 10,000 block of Grub Creek Drive reported a dog chasing a peacock and cats. At 1:41 p.m., a caller from Hutto and Honey Mushroom Roads reported a shed blew over. 2:10 p.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Orchard Springs Road reported hearing 4 gunshots. And 2:33 p.m., a man from 11,000 block of Treetop Circle reported someone tried to obtain credit in his name. 3:49 p.m., a caller from Highway 174 and Hobart Lane reported a man who might be drunk fell and injured his head. He was taken to the hospital. 4:57 p.m., a caller from 15,000 block of Old Donnyville Highway reported a phone or power line across the road. 6:03 p.m., a woman from 16,000 block of Penn Valley Drive reported her locked vehicle was burglarized and her purse and cell phone and wallet were taken. 6:22 p.m., a woman from Highway 49 and Alta Sierra Drive reported her vehicle window was smashed and the purse, iPhone, San Diego Chargers tickets, credit cards, checkbook, glasses, and other items were taken. 6:36 p.m., a man from Eileen Way reported a residential burglary. 10:30 p.m., a caller from Forest Springs and Stone Arch Drive reported a woman slumped over a steering wheel of her vehicle. She was arrested on suspicion of driving under the influence by CHP. Kind of hard to drive when you're passed out. 11:08 p.m., a caller from 11,000 block of Pleasant Valley Road reported someone banging on the doors. No one was at the residence when a deputy arrived. Friday, 4:23 a.m., a caller from a hospital reported an assault victim from 12,000 block of Squirrel Creek Road who, he said, an unknown men grabbed him out of his truck but would not provide any further details. And 4:53 a.m., a caller from Garden Bar and Clayton Roads reported a tree across the road. Can you imagine that? Nevada City Police Department on Thursday, 1:09 p.m., a caller from a business 300 block of Sacramento Street reported a very drunken woman taking her clothes off. She was gone when an officer arrived. And that's it for the blotter today. Now, thanks to one of our underwriters who supports your only visual video news media in Nevada County. That's right, it's us, GVTV News. In today's local news headlines, body identified at Rollins Lake. And Western Sierra Medical Center opens new facility for patients from all walks of life. Used to be the Miners Clinic. In our first story, on December 8, 2014, deputies from Nevada County Sheriff's Coroner's Office were called to the Orchard Springs boat launch after NID employees located what they believed to be a dead body in Rollins Lake Reservoir. Patrol deputies arrived on the scene and confirmed the remains that were of a deceased male adult. Upon the location of the body, deputies were unable to locate any identifying information for the deceased individual. With assistance of the California Department of Justice, Bureau of Forensic Services, and Nevada County Sheriff's Coroner's Office, they have positively identified the decedent as Micah Eugene Cavallero, age 26, of Nevada City. When the Western Sierra Medical Center Board of Directors began to plan and design the development of a new state-of-the-art medical facility 5 years ago, the impetus was to relocate services from the Whispering Pines facility it had outgrown. On Tuesday, the nonprofit's new building will be open to the public, providing a plethora of new medical services with one major goal in mind: to provide accessibility. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on and what we services across the entire spectrum, Western Sierra Medical Center's CEO Scott McFarland said, we've been working hand in hand with providers and specialists to bring any service you can think of in-house. We want this building to really represent a one-stop shop. Located at 844 Old Tunnel Road in Grass Valley, the center is conveniently located near local shopping centers and senior housing facilities, making it more accessible to a larger number of customer base, McFarland added. The new 19,000 square foot center is located on a 5.3 acre plot of land, giving the staff 70 more spaces and 2 acres of undeveloped land. Gives us a nice expansion opportunity as we continue to grow, McFarland said. There's still room for another 24,000 to 30,000 square foot building attached to this current floor plan. $4.9 million development was funded through a loan from the Rural Community Assistance Corporation. According to McFarland, more than 90% of the building's construction was done by local agencies, including general contractor Trueline Builders. Located across the street from major senior housing development, the new building increases the proximity the center will have to the local senior population. Whether you're a working person or a retiree or a young person, we have kids here. We've got the whole gamut, Planning and Developing Director Cheryl Rubin said. We really represent the community. We're really into the quality of life for people. It's not just about getting medicine. Claiming to be the largest outpatient healthcare provider in Nevada County, the new facility is equipped with 28 patient rooms, dedicated areas for maternity services, and specialists and behavioral health rooms for a psychiatrist, psychologist, and clinical social workers. The center also offers a high-tech dental suite featuring an area for child dentistry and a new panoramic x-ray room that will be used by 5 local dentists. The on-site lab, run by Dignity Health, will provide patients with clinical blood draws, and convenient drive-through roundabout bus stop will give shuttles and buses easy access to the building entrance. We now have an OBGYN and a department that just focuses on the delivery, McFarland said. The pediatrician that works for us will follow the child, and then you can transition to our family practice doctor. We have doctors that work specifically with senior population. We have doctors that go into the skilled nursing facilities, and we're actually working with the hospital, so when you go to the emergency room and get discharged, we make it a smooth transition into our facility. So we've got everything here. In an attempt to modernize the center's data collection, all medical records will be transferred to an electronic system. The electronic system really makes it easier for doctors and physicians to store and save medical records, Western Sierra Medical Director Dr. Glenn Thiel said. Everything is there for you to look at in one place, and it saves staff a lot of time. Patients even have access to seeing their own records. They can schedule their appointments, ask questions, and contact the providers all online. McFarland projects that the center will see an increase of patients served in this coming year from 20,000 to 28,000 patients. The center is also projected to have around 53,000 visits next year, and is estimated to increase to 65,000 visits in the following year. Affordable Care Act quickly built this way new population of patients, McFarland said. There are so many new patients coming that we've been adding 600 to 700 new patients every month for the past year and a half. We do not discriminate against any payer type. When you walk into our doors, you may see someone who is homeless to a CEO, literally getting the same quality of care. That's what's really cool about our model. The new center will also provide a community room for patients to use the internet, play games, and socialize with other community members. Patients who need help with acquiring insurance or ways of paying for medical services can also be helped by the center's community assistance staff. We are so community driven that we have a relationship with a number of community members, McFarland said. We offer discounted pharmaceuticals from all the local pharmacies and a sliding fee policy if people don't have the ability to pay. Nevada County Superintendent of Schools, Holly Hermanson, says the new medical center will increase the level of access for patients in the county. I'm a volunteer with the Friendly Visitor Program at Freed, and I have been visiting a woman there for 3 years who is a patient at the center, Hermanson said. She happens to live in apartments right across the street. So for her, it's really exciting to have medical services so close. She doesn't have any form of transportation, so accessing these services, or those services, has been a challenge for her. I think it's going to make a big difference for her. Thiel says the new center is looking into providing other new services, including gastroenterology, I don't know what they are. They are orthopedics and some general surgery. Good percentage of our folks at Medi-Cal, therefore, their specialty care access is limited because the number of providers in the area do not take the insurance, Thiel said. So where do they go? Sometimes they don't go anywhere, or they have to travel out of the region and can't get to a rheumatologist in Chico. So the intent here is to bring in as many specialists as the intent here is to bring in as many specialists as we can. McFarland hopes this medical center's new facility eventually becomes the community hub. When I look at the building, I see a structure that's going to be here forever. This is a structure that's not owned by anybody. This is owned by this entire community. It was developed for this community, and it's a really nice place. So come out, give us your support, and we do appreciate all the feedback and support we've already received. For more information, you can go to WSMCmed.org. That's WSMCmed.org.